Why does that name sound so familiar to me?
It ought to. Because you killed my wife, the initial revolt, and countless others.
So that's why I'm here. That voice I hear must have been working for you, and...
Voice you heard? No. No, it doesn't work for me.
So, what exactly is this place? Why am I not in a hospital?
This is what is left of our hospital. And orphanage. Refugee camp.
Hi, I'm Anna Wright for the Gig Spotting Network, and we're here today with Tim Ross. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us.
Sure.
And he is an actor in the Charlotte region, and the region, all that entails these days. He's here to talk about projects past and present, and any other advice he can give us for up-and-coming actors. Once again, thank you so much. And let's start off with talking about what's your most recent project, or you said you're just finished one, it feels like, and in the middle of another one.
Yeah, well, it's been a really good year so far. I shot here in Rock Hill actually for the entire month of January on a film called The Strange and Unusual. I have really high hopes about, and then in February I worked on a couple of different films. One in particular, My Name is Paul, which is a faith-based film that had a pretty large budget for a local indie film, and I'm really excited about it. But literally a couple hours after this interview, I'll drive to Raleigh and finish work on a film that's a really cool twist on the zombie genre, but it's called Live Evil, and I'm particularly excited about it because I have direct scenes with several people who are recognizable Hollywood actors.
That's cool.
Vladimir Kulik is one of them. He was in The 13th Warrior, but he's in the new Vikings series on the History Channel. And Charlene Amoya she's a recurring character on How I Met Your Mother. And she also did a film here in North Carolina last year. And then Tony Todd is well known as the Candyman from those horror films. And then Vincent Ward, who is a regular on Walking Dead. So these are people who are really working right now, and I have some great scenes with them, so I'm really excited about that film.
That's great. Is it just your basic zombies attack, let's survive film, or?
Actually, I don't want to say too much, except that it's even hard to describe what they are, the undead, but they end up not being evil in the end. They end up being heroic, and I'll leave it at that, and we'll go from there.
Intriguing.
Yes.
All right, so that's in project now. What have you said you just finished Strange and Unusual in the area, which we interviewed Chris Gervais with.
Oh, great.
Touching on that and, other things, but tell us a little bit about that, and I guess a little bit about your history with Straw House, since we've definitely talked about that group a bit.
Okay, well, and it's actually great that you asked that question, because I know we're going to work more into advice later, but this is really how the film business works in this area, and in a lot of areas, even in Hollywood. Several years ago, probably 2.5 years ago, I auditioned for and got cast in a short film that Straw House Pictures was doing. Anil, all those guys, Anil Dokai and Micah Troublefield and Chris and all those guys. So we did that short film here in Rock Hill, and it was a great experience. And it just so happens that Anil had a full-length film that he had been working on for several years, and I was right for it. I was right for the lead role. So because I built a relationship with him, because we did a short film together, I ended up being able to do a full-length feature with him, a fully funded feature, a great script, really good crew, and those guys already have a history of just really being good shooters. Their films look beautiful. So we all have really high hopes for where that film will go, that it will find an audience. It's a sweet, quirky, funny film. So I'm excited about it, but underneath all that is that I built a relationship with these guys, and that has happened time and time again. The film I did in February called My Name is Paul, that was a large budget for a local indie. Again, I did a short film a couple of years ago with the same folks, same film, but then they expanded the script into a full-length feature. and I was brought back on board to reprise the character that I played in the short. So again, creating relationships, building relationships.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you have anything lined up for the future, or are you just kind of working it project at a time?
Well, both. You have to constantly look ahead. You know, focus on what you're doing. I try to organize things. I'm doing a film next week. I wrap Live Evil on Saturday night. We're shooting all night long, so actually Sunday morning. And then on Tuesday, I drive to Asheville, and I work on a film for the whole rest of that week. I can't focus fully on that film until I wrap Live Evil, but I've certainly been in the process of auditioning for it, talking to the director, going through all that. So, and then after that, I'm in conversations with some people out of the state, and I can't say too much about that, but for April. And then I'm in conversations with some people in Los Angeles for an even bigger project that would be a little bit farther down the road. So I'm constantly, you know, trying to pave my way, you know, to the next
organization skills definitely a plus if you're going to try and get into any film work.
You know, my inbox has so many submissions, conversations with people. You really have to. The professional side of the business of acting is equally as important as acting classes, as rehearsing. If you don't understand how to survive the business part and build the relationships and find out where submissions are, then you can't survive. Certainly around here.
Right. Give us a little bit more information about the business aspect, because we've had a lot of people that do really well with talking about the auditioning and the persistence that it takes and everything, but it'd be really great to hear what specifically is best on that side of things.
Okay. Well, I actually teach audition technique, but some of what I do in that class is talk about the business part of it. So there's really a lot of things, but you know, the first several that come to mind are you have to have a good headshot and resume. You have to invest the time and money in that. You have to invest time and money into subscribing to certain websites that really put out the bulk of the casting notices. Some of those websites are free, some are subscription, but not that much. I just renewed my 800 casting profile, and I think it's $20 a year. But you can put video reels on there, you can put up to 10 pictures, you can visit it every day and see what sort of casting notices are there. Your online presence is huge in this business. You need to find somebody to do good taped auditions with, or invest in your own camera, your own lights, none of which is expensive these days, not like it used to be. And have all of that ready to go, because being able to put yourself on tape and get it out to people quickly is ultimately important. I've been doing this a long time. Not that long ago, you had to drive to Wilmington to audition for anything out of Wilmington. Now, 85% of the auditions, whether it's Wilmington or Atlanta or elsewhere, you put on tape. So your online presence just in general and your ability to put yourself online on tape is all extremely important. And there are several major clearinghouses out there for casting notices: Actors Access, 800 Casting, the Southern Casting Call. There's a new one in Western North Carolina. And it's just, you have to be diligent. You have to spend time networking, you have to spend time going to those sites and looking at casting notices, and you have to spend time continuing to build relationships with people you've worked with before. Great.
Now, as far as, since you've been doing this for a little bit, at least.
A long little bit.
When did you initially get into it, and like what led you to it? Were you always interested in acting, go to school for it, or was it a kind of after a while like, you know, this seems better?
Yeah, you know, I consider myself extremely lucky because I had nothing short of an epiphany. I was in high school, I was doing plays, it was fun, but it wasn't something I thought that much about. And then my senior year I got cast as John Proctor, which is the lead role in The Crucible, which is a famous classic play. And I'll never forget, I was driving to the theater, to the school, on opening night, and I pulled my car over into this little park. I went to high school in Statesville, North Carolina, a small little town. and came out onto a stage just like the one we're sitting on. This is the honest truth. In the middle of this park, nobody was there, and I started talking out loud to myself, saying, I don't know what this feeling is, but it's really cool. I don't know what's happening to me, but I got to figure this out. I got to do this. I don't want to do anything else. I want to do this. I went and did the play, came home, said to my parents, I don't want to go to the college I'm going to. I want to go to a different school, and I want to study acting. And of course, they looked at me like, oh my God, we've had enough trouble with this kid, you know, his whole life, now this. But I never looked back. I went to Catawba College in Salisbury, which is a very fine theater school, and studied theater and communications. I'm also in radio. And that's all I've done for my entire life, with the exception of a few side jobs here and there that a lot of us have to do. But I have been completely in love, completely passionate, and completely devoted to doing this work. And I'm lucky. Not everybody has that epiphany where they just go, I have to do this.
Yeah.
It was cool.
That's great. So did you end up switching colleges? And
I did all that in 1 month. This all happened in April of my senior year in high school, and by the end of April into May, I had switched schools. I had gotten accepted to Catawba College, and I only knew about it because my drama teacher had gone there. I didn't look anywhere else. I had no time. She just said, this is a great school. I'll take you. I'll introduce you, and I never looked back. The rest is sort of history. But yeah, I changed everything. It was cool.
In a month.
It was an amazing time.